We're live. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to a new episode of When Miracles Speak. I'm your host, Samantha, and we have our other lovely host, Miss Letitia. What's going on, Tisha?
Hello. Nothing much. How you doing? Hello, everybody.
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Let's go ahead and take a minute, make sure that everything is up and running, and give everyone time to get in who's supposed to be here live with us. How about that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We do apologize for the delay tonight. A little technical difficulties, but that's all right. That's all right.
Mm-hmm.
Just, give ourselves grace, and hopefully others will as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right. I think I'm up and running on my end. What about you? Ourselves grace.
Yes, I can see myself up and running on my end.
All right. All right. So tonight's episode, as you all see, we do not have a guest tonight. This is just going to be a real chill conversation between us and whoever wants to, jump on and ask questions in the chat, and we'd be happy to just want to interact with you. But tonight's episode, we are talking about what to do with the miracle. Um, we pose this question because, we consider ourselves God's miracles, and everyone that we bring on the show is also God's miracle. And the thing is, when you have been given a miracle, what do you do with it? Do you kind of keep it to yourself and you don't share the testimony, or do you jump out there and you shout it from the rooftops? And so that's what we wanted to talk about tonight. Like, when you get a miracle from God, a God-given miracle, not something that you say you did yourself, because I don't know, Tisha, if you've seen this yourself, a lot of people be manifesting stuff in the universe and gave them this and gave them that. I mean, God-given miracles. What do you do with the God-given miracles?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that's a good question, and it's like I asked, like I said, a lot of times you have to recognize the miracle, right? And some of us don't recognize the miracles. We don't recognize that when God comes in and He gives us the very desires of our heart, or He hears that subtle thing, like you want the miracle again. What we mess up it is we want the miracle to look a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Like you want a place to stay, and God provides you a shelter when everybody else turn you away. But because it does not look like what you want it to look like, now you don't want to recognize it as the miracle that it is. So a lot of times we don't appreciate the miracle unless it's something major. Like, how could I not appreciate this miracle? You know what I'm saying? Like, I had a 16-hour surgery, I made it out, I did all that. And so those are the things that people recognize. But see, I recognize the minor, not even minor, the miracles previous to that. Me changing the way I eat, which enhanced how I healed, right? Yeah. Me being able to hear someone tell me that I have something that they can't really do nothing about, and not to show back up until I'm paralyzed. And I took it with grace. Does that make sense? Like, I was able to take it in, and I did not allow it to intimidate me. Because sometimes the message of the mess is more intimidating than the actual mess. And so recognize the presence of the miracle, and recognize that we come in contact with miracles every day.
Every single day. But some people, they fail to realize that. Like I said, I've noticed a lot of people that give themselves credit for things that have happened. And what's interesting, I'm not gonna lie, I'm on a few different platforms. I get some people that I just I gotta pray for. I had one person in particular. I had shared my story of going through chemo and radiation and all of that. And one person had the audacity to get my comments because I gave God the glory. And they didn't like that. They're like, well, what about the doctors? What? And that's not, it's not to take anything away from anyone, but there's also things that I don't share. I'm not going to put 100% of my life on social media for, for people, for strangers, but I share enough. You know what I mean? I share a lot of myself, but for someone to really want me to not give God the credit and give man the credit, that's, first of all, that's a big issue we have these days also. So we do have to acknowledge that a miracle has taken place.
And a miracle, as Shirley Caesar would say, is that supernatural gift that only God can give. So
Come
I thank God for my physicians because God chose them. It took them 2 years to get where they needed to be so I can get where I need to be so they can do what they needed to do. Like we needed each other. So
on.
me giving all glory and praise to God is me thanking God for them, for using them, for them having a good day that day,
Ooh,
for them again, this is my brain. So of course I'm telling God thank you. But when I say that, I'm thanking him for everybody and everything that was attached, the anesthesiologist, the surgical techs, the PA, the nurses, everybody. Because
yep.
again, without those things, unless God made the tumor just disappear, or like I woke up one day and it was gone and my hearing was back. Okay, yeah, that's all God right there. But even in this, with the surgery, with them doing what they had to do, that's still all God.
God,
Because in all things, He is everything, He does everything. And the fact that somebody's offended,
right.
that you think, I'm thanking God every day. I thank God for my mama. I thank God for my husband. But at the end of the day, I thank God for the miracles that He put in front of us. It does not mean, and I don't even like having to explain it. I think that's a waste of time. Like I'm not gonna explain
Yeah,
it.
and that's the thing. I really, there are times where I have to catch myself because I still am a representative of of the kingdom of God.
Yes,
And
yes.
so, and I used to make the joke, especially in the beginning. There's a little bit left in me there, but I used to tell people I'm still nuck if you buck. Please don't play with me. And so,
Because how you mad about my miracle? How
right.
you mad that I didn't give my servants a thank you? That when I woke up and he came in there, I was like, "Thank you so much." Like,
Exactly. And that's the thing. And that's what, and that kind of helps segue into my next thought, is because when I had the surgery in 2019, I underestimated the miracle, because here I was, which I think many people do know, the incision. First of all, was a 7 centimeter tumor. They compared it to a large egg in size, and it was attached to my vena cava. It's where the blood flows through the body. It's go, and so as and it was clotted, and the tumor is pushing against it. And the miracle is that what ended up happening was, because that main the vena cava was blocked, God literally miraculously rerouted my blood flow through other veins, through other parts of my body. Like, that in itself is a miracle. And I
mm-hmm.
had no idea that any of this was even going on. Because for it to be 7 centimeters, it was there for a very, very long time. And all this was taking place. So that's miracle number one. Two, the surgery was, I want to say, 5.5 hours long. And in there, yeah, it was a lot. I'm literally, the incision is from my sternum all the way down to my pelvis. Like, the miracle, there's so many miracles. And back then I just didn't want to focus on it. I didn't want to think about it, anything miraculous. I wasn't even trying to really think about God like that. And I underestimated the miracle. I did nothing with the miracle. I felt a little something like, oh yeah, well, God has something to do with this. Let me go. I spoke to a couple women's groups and things like that. Hallelujah, praise God. But then after I felt like I did enough, because I didn't want to talk about it anymore. I want to act like it didn't happen. So then I just let it go. So then what happens? It came back. So then I had no choice, because of everything I went through in 2021, 2022. I had no choice but to really wake up like, no, I am a miracle. I live a supernatural life, and I give God the glory. So now I have to look at, what am I doing with the miracle? one of the things is I'm sitting here with you.
Right. And we're telling others, like we're sharing our miracles with others because again, everybody's miracle don't look the same. Everybody's miracle don't embody the same things. But when you come through, when God brings you out of something, and God and you know it was him that dragged you out, that brought you out, that pulled you out, that embraced you out, then you have to tell others. Why?
Yep.
Because the word says we're overcome by the words of our testimony. So
Come on.
every time I talk about it, every time I say something about it, that's me giving him glory. That's me telling him hallelujah. That's me. And that's also a witness for you, for others to say, okay, God did that for her.
Yep.
God is still out here. I meet people. I just met somebody when I was at my mom's restaurant the other day, and she had, she had the shaved head and everything. And she was like, "Hey, sister." I said, "Hey, sister, how you doing?" And we started talking. And she started talking about she had took hers out because her hair was shaved because of alopecia, but she
Oh.
also was taking chemo. And then it was another lady, which and this is so funny because it was me and a sister, me and a black lady who were having a conversation. It was a white lady at the table. I hadn't even paid attention, but she had chimed in as we was giving God glory for our miracles. And she was like, yeah, because she said the chemo took her hair out too. But she had on a wig. She said, I don't think I can do that. But she was smiling so hard at our confidence, right? So all three of us, all three miracles.
That's
in
good.
there, coming together, talking, and giving God glory intentionally and unintentionally. Like when you said again,
I believe miracles attract miracles.
they do. I am starting to see that. I see it.
Yeah, because I feel like every week you're calling me, Sam, guess who I just met? I'm like, what?
What just guess what just happened? And it's like now I do honestly wake up with expectations. Like I wake up thinking when I go out in public. Now, if somebody asks me to come and speak, and then I'm gonna do it. I'm going through. If you want me to speak on embracing my ugly, I promise you, I'm gonna throw this miracle in there. Because when I started that journey, this was never a part of that. Like God's master plan is always better than your plan, right? And it's just kind of like I was not expecting this. But God was like, I'm going to use that. I need that slogan. I need you to understand because that's what's going to make you unique. Miracles are unique, but we kind of overlook them daily. We don't want to share our miracles. You don't want nobody to know you was going through nothing. You just want to talk about the glory when you came out. No, let's discuss before you came out. Because see, that's the miracle. The miracle also is the right mindset. And you have to understand that some people get a miracle and walk away.
Yep.
They don't have listen, they got it. They didn't pray for it. They ain't fast for it. They ain't seek God for it. They ain't do nothing. They just got it. Like they woke up and the tumor was gone. They woke up and the cancer was gone. But the Bible says he showed grace to who he want to show grace to. So you can't get upset and say, well, God, how they got that? They ain't even have to have surgery. They ain't do nothing. They don't even believe in you, God.
But
mind your business.
You know what? I used to kind of have that attitude.
Really?
Yes, only because it's like, Lord, they don't even follow you.
No.
But you know what? This is what I realized though, and this is what got me. First of all, I had to check my heart.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what I realized: it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they follow God or not, because there was one person in particular. When I got diagnosed in 2019, this young lady, not a believer for as far as I've never seen her mention God or anything. Certain things that she does talk about on her platforms, I'm like, yeah, no, she ain't walk with God, but still a beautiful person nonetheless, right? The same type of cancer that I was diagnosed with, she was diagnosed, and this particular form of cancer is extremely rare, which is crazy. And she had it 3 times. She had 2 recurrences. She had it 3 times total. And I mean, she's got some massive scars. And matter of fact, I think it was with the first diagnosis, they gave her less than 3 months to live. And she has been what they call NED, no evidence of disease, for like 9 years now. Had a baby literally on my birthday a couple of years ago. And the thing is, first of all, when she was so young when she was diagnosed, and they had asked her about freezing her eggs, and she's like, y'all told me I only have X amount of time to live. I don't even have to. And then she had to go right into surgery. She had like surgery within 3 days. And she's like, I don't have time to decide what to do with my eggs, let alone she didn't even think she'd be alive to have kids because of what they told her. And so she wasn't expecting a baby. And it's just, these are like God's miracles, you know what I mean? And me believing in God, regardless if she does or not, it increased my faith because I got to see what God did for someone who doesn't even give him the glory. I saw what God did for her, and God is no respecter of persons.
No.
So I knew if he did it for her, he'd do it for me. But Lord.
Oh, Samantha, you froze up on me. You literally froze up. But so yeah. So when you expressing gratitude, always be humble in your miracle. Always thank God for your miracle. And then also incorporate it into your life. I incorporate my miracle into my life every day. Because if I don't, it's almost kind of like the evidence of it is still there, but it's a good thing.
Stuff
It
doesn't happen.
creates conversation. It creates the ability to move forward and keep going. It creates all these things. So when you allow God to be God and do things that only God can do in your life and for your life, it allows you the opportunity to keep moving. Hey, Samantha, good to see you back.
Hey.
You had froze up like this. You was just like,
I saw. I can.
And I was like, I said, okay, it is. So then I was just like, well, I'm gonna just keep going and we're gonna see.
That's what I'm talking about. Keep the ball rolling.
Yeah, and then I was like, now I gotta remember to keep looking over here to see if she gonna pop back up. So I did good. Hey, Samantha.
That's good.
So what were you saying?
You know what? I was listening to you, and that's all I don't know. I don't even remember now.
Okay, you were testifying about how it does not matter if.
I was saying, yes, thank you. I said that God is no respecter of person. So if he had done it for her, he would do it for me. But I was saying, I was telling God I'm good on not having no more babies, though. I'm glad she got her baby, though. Yeah. But no, I just thought it was so amazing. And when we see people that are not believers, it increases everybody's faith, because you got to know that there's a higher powers, that God did that for her. Because I mean, not once, not twice, but cancer 3 times, and they'd only given her a couple months to live. Come on now. I see it all the time because I look for the miracles. That's one of the things that got me through that such a dark time, is I looked for the miracles. I literally started Googling and looking on TikTok and Instagram and putting in hashtag cancer survivor, hashtag miracles, hashtag radical remission, and the stories that came up increased my faith. And that's what we have to do with the miracle.
And I like how you just said that. Some just hit me. It's like you got to seek out the miracles. Like we seek out information for everything else, but seek out the miracles. Seek out that very thing. Somebody tell you something that is devastating news to you, seek out the miracle. Because Google right there, that stalker know everything, right?
So come on now. But you're right. You're absolutely right.
Google miracles. Like if somebody give you this diagnosis, don't just go look up the negative stuff. What are the miracles attached to this? For me, what I did with my walk, and just as I had literally, that's right, seek out the miracle. I literally was telling God, now wait a minute. I said, it's miracles in my bloodline. Because in the Bible, then God is this and this is that, and I'm attached to this, and no, I'm attached to this miracle. Wait a minute. And literally that's what I did. I constantly, even when you go to the doctor and they ask you all these different diagnoses, do this person got this in your family, do this guy, nobody ever asked you about the miracles in your family, how many people overcame this particular situation. So I constantly told God, remember, I am attached. It's in my bloodline. It runs strong in my bloodline. My grandmother is a miracle. My brother was a straight up miracle. And just because the person that's housing the miracle passed away does not mean the miracle dies. The miracle itself never dies. The miracle will never die. The testimony of my godbrothers, journey with his
Yep.
rare tumor that he was supposed to live 3 to 5 years and he lived 12 years, baby, that miracle is still here alive and well. Why? Because the person housing the miracle, the flesh may be gone, that's
Yep.
gone, but the miracle cannot and will not die. That's not possible. So that's how you constantly reminded of those things. That be like reminded. Remember, your grandma went through this, or your grandma had this situation, and that's why it's good to know family history too. Not just to find out who all been sick in your family,
Yeah.
but know who all endured some stuff.
Mm.
That maybe because like my grandmother, I think she might have had surgery, but she had like psoriasis or something of the liver, cirrhosis of the liver. I don't know. They gave her 6 months to live. My grandmother died when she was 97. They
Whew.
gave her that like 40 some years ago, like when I was still a baby.
See?
So, and the doctor who told her, him passed away way before she did. So, again, my grandmother's miracle can never die
Right.
because it's going to always be attached. So, it's like we seek a lot of stuff, but seek the miracle. Attached to the miracle. We want to attach, or let me get to know Doc because he know about that money. You know what I'm saying? Or let me attach to this CEO because they know this. No, let me attach to a miracle.
And that's the thing. And when we start seeking it out, they just find us. I have someone I'm very excited that has agreed to be on the show. I'm very excited for this particular guest. And once I get the final say so, then I'll let everyone know. But this particular person that I met, he is a walking miracle. And miracles look different to different people. Those that I would say aren't rocking with God wholeheartedly might miss the miracle. You know what I mean? Someone might look at me and say, "Oh yeah, that was a miracle," but then the cancer came back, and then they're losing sight of the miracle. They might look at you and be like, "Oh, okay, well, like you said, which none of us would know that you don't have hearing in that ear." But people would look at that or the
But
scar.
maybe when it come back, all of y'all gonna know.
Oh, we all gonna know, in Jesus' name. So I mean, it's like people would think about it. It's like they would look at the backside of the miracle. There's this pastor. He had said he was preaching one day, and he was talking about this a couple years ago. He was talking about the back side of the blessing. And I was like, oh, I never thought of that. And now I realize that's probably what people would think it, because people aren't fully focused on God. They're not focused on the miracle. They rather focus on the negative,
Right. And again, because they have a way that they want the miracle to look.
Yeah.
And then so if it don't look like how we want it to look, then we think the miracle ain't take place, and you don't pass by the miracle. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, when I went to God, and I didn't specify certain things, but even me and my husband's relationship, like you had seen, I had put that post, like everything I wanted came 3 inches shorter than me.
3 inches shorter. I was like, why she put that man business out there?
But you get what I'm saying? It's like at some point, but again, in spite of everything that I had seen, I had never seen a good relationship. Yeah. I didn't know what it was like to be in a relationship where like the husband and the wife was there. I never saw that. Not my grandma, my granddaddy had moved out there. They were still married. He lived on the other side of town. Again, you don't ask no questions. I don't have. My father was abusive. All the men that was attached to like my aunties and them, they were abusive. I never saw anything like that. Statistically speaking, because my mother had me at 14, statistically speaking, I should have had all my kids early.
Yeah.
Statistically speaking, because my father was abusive to my mother, statistically speaking, I should have been in an abusive relationship. Because I have a learning disability and I struggle and I was bullied and a bully, statistically speaking, I should not be successful. So everything about my life says miracle. Everything about it, I can look at it in a tragedy way, messy, or I choose to look at it in the miracle way, because in spite of what they said, that's right, Ashley, but God, in spite of what they said, what statistics say, the miracle say I'm coming through. The miracle say, I got you.
When we have faith in God, we don't worry about statistics. Statistics what? Like we can't worry about statistics. Like that's worldly stuff. That's how I look at it. Totally.
But we get caught up in it because imagine medically, right? When they come to you and they give you this diagnosis, they're going to give you their statistics. They're
Mm,
going to give you their information based off what they gather,
mm,
what based off what they know. And they're giving it to you. They're not lying. You don't be, oh, the devil is a liar. No, baby, that ain't the devil. What happened is that's really what the statistics. No, no, ma'am. You see this thing, you feel this lump, you see. So again, we have to be so careful. Like I took what he said, what the doctor told me, I took it. And I looked at it and I heard what he said. And he
yep.
was like, don't come back. And again, the diagnosis they gave me wasn't bad in the beginning. In 2020, that man told me I ain't have to worry about nothing for like 40 years. He said, you ain't got to
Ooh,
worry about anything because
sorry.
this thing is slow
Some-
growing.
Something just came to me. So they said, now how many years did they say?
They told me 40.
40 years. And what happened and how many?
It doubled in 2 years. It doubled in size.
So here's the thing. This is literally what just dropped in my spirit. Now imagine 40 years from now, had that happened, what would your life have looked like?
Mm.
Compared to, like you said, remember how whenever we have this conversation, we talk about how everything had to line up.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine what would have happened in those 40 years. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then what has it done for your life now? You were given, instead of 40 years from now, you were able to experience something that was traumatic, but you flipped it and turned it around for your good and his glory. And now you're able to walk in purpose and as a living testimony, as a
Mm-hmm.
living, breathing miracle, able to speak to others and bring others through, not 40 years from now, but right now.
And that's honorable. Like that's the whole chosen. Many are called,
If you were
but
chosen.
few are chosen.
Yeah.
And when you realize that everybody says that, oh, I'm chosen, many are called. But the question is, what you're chosen for? See, because I used to get that prophecy all the time. You're chosen of God, chosen of God. And in my mind, because I was younger, oh, I'm going to preach, I'm going to prophesy, I'm going to lay hands.
Mm-hmm.
I was never thinking, oh no, you're gonna go through this situation here. Oh no, because again, for me to give you a testimony, that means I went through a test.
Yep.
And so I went through a lot of stuff. I know what it's like to be raped, molested, violated. I know what it's like to be all those things. And I thought I did well. Like I presented I would listen. I know how to empower people. And then God was like, oh, but it's more. Wait a minute. I got more for you. Hold on. They're going to say this thing has been here at least 10 years. And you're going to be able to go back in your head and remember, that's why I was getting dizzy. That's why these things were happening. Because when the guy said it, it really started to make sense. Like, oh, that's what was going, because I couldn't stand going around in a circle, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
You start calculating in your head and you're like, wait a minute. So again, I had this thing that I couldn't even see.
Yep.
This thing was attacking me. I
Yep.
ain't do nothing to it, right? You mad at me, sir? I don't even know you. How did you get here? Like, right. What are you doing here? Right. And so when you get to that place, right, and you start I incorporated my miracles as far as being molested, violated. I incorporated that into my life. I spoke about it. Stages were created for me to speak about it. I created events to speak about it. Then when this happened, right? Yeah. These platforms were created for me to go. Yeah. And it's kind of like, are you going to go in the boldness and the beauty of your miracle, or are you going to be embarrassed because it don't look like what you want it to look like? Exactly. In my mind, I would have still had my hair. In my mind, I would have still had my hearing. In my mind, I would have still had my muscle movement on this side. Yeah. But when I look at this now, baby, you can't tell me nothing. I literally could have went and had surgery done. Like they were like, you can come in and we'll take your muscle like out your grind or something, and we'll put it in your face. And it ain't gonna take like 45 minutes. It's an in and out type of thing, and then you'll be able to get the movement back, right? Like it'll do something. And again, I don't know what the success rate is. Even before he even told me that, my answer was no. This is one of them things. This is a me and God thing. This is he gonna do it, because see, they took out every muscle thing. So the hearing out, the tumor had already crushed that.
Mm.
But then they went in, and when they removed the tumor, they removed all the equipment. So when I hear again,
Come on.
it's gonna be a but God.
Yep. And that's the beautiful thing, because you have now solidified that relationship with God, because
Mhm.
and it's only because of what he's already brought you through. You know what I mean? And even like I said before, yeah, I was running. I was like, I want no parts of this. I washed my hands with it. I and the thing is, like in the back of my mind, I knew what I was supposed to be doing, but I was like, no, I'm not done drinking. I'm not done going to the club. I'm not done doing all the things that I was doing. I wasn't, and let's keep it real. I was living a certain lifestyle and I was having fun, but even though I was having fun, the fun was temporary, and deep down I knew I was missing something, and I really knew what it was I was missing. I just didn't want to admit it. And then I decided, you know what, this is me and God. Now I'm rocking with God. This is what I'm deciding to do. And then once I did that, my life started changing drastically, for the better. And and I still love, that's how we met. We literally had one conversation, and I was like, I know God wants me to do a women's health and wellness expo, and I want you to be the keynote speaker. You said, when is it? I said, I don't know. You said, where is it? I said, I don't
No
know.
man. And there it is. There it is.
But you know what? And it's so amazing. Like when you give God a yes, how quickly He moves. Because it was like end of December that we talked. You were on my podcast in January, and I got the spot in February and had the expo in May.
And again, it's like one of the things, like the question says, what do you do with the miracle? It's like you create a space for more miracles. And that's
Exactly.
what you did. Like you got to create a space for more miracles. That means you're coming in expectation. You're coming expecting. Like when I go places, honey, I'm like this.
Oh yeah.
Okay, God, like I'm expecting the craziest things. Like even with my godbrother, as he was literally, declining in his health, part of me was still like, oh, he could get. I even told him that I was like, if you want to get up out of here, we're gonna tell this whole facility, giving God some glory, but you can get up. Like it's up to you. But then when you experience the miracle, you also have peace
Yeah.
when one decides to rest, when they say
Exactly.
that's it. Like you don't I would never ask anybody to fight longer because I don't understand that fight, because I know what it was like to have death walk up on me and was like, hey girl, and I'm
Mm,
trying to prepare my family. And I also know what it's like for God to say, not so, this is not your time, girl. Just take your tail to the hospital. You see
yep.
what I'm saying? I didn't get no. I literally, he was like, "That is so cute." Your mama coming down here tomorrow because you got to go to the hospital. Ain't nobody coming to get you. But
I,
again, it does not mean because death. She was talking because I knew something wasn't right. I just didn't know what it was. So I was preparing my husband and my kids. I done called my mama, and God was like, "Oh, that's so cute." But that's not how this story ends. Take
absolutely.
your tail down to Tallahassee Hospital and
See?
let the people do what they need to do because it's more work that you need to do. And so
And
create the space.
that's the thing. When God gives you the miracle, that's when it's time to go to work.
Yeah.
Because what are other people that are struggling? What are they going to do? Who do they have to look to? You
Mm-hmm.
know, who
And
do
you
they?
never know who really looking. You never know who really looking at your story. It wasn't until I literally started posting the pictures, and I did it from the beginning, and I started getting
Yep.
so many inboxes from women. One lady, I need to reach out to her. She had 6 brain surgeries, 3 aneurysms. But
Jesus.
I could have it backwards. Like I could have it so wrong. Like she had staples like all in her head. It was a lot. And then to look at her now, you would never know that. You would never know it at all. And it was just like these women, because they found another miracle to
Yeah.
connect to, because you don't feel foreign. Because when you're going through a miracle, you feel isolated. I don't care what nobody say. You feel isolated because
Yep.
then you feel like you got to perform and always look happy. Like,
Yep.
yay, he did it. But that's not how it works.
And that goes back to the episode we did a few weeks ago, the loneliness of the miracle,
Mm-hmm.
because there is that lonely aspect to it. But the thing is, like you said, that when we share our testimonies, and then the people are in our DMs asking questions and telling their story and asking, like, that's really honestly what makes me keep doing what I keep wanting to do what I do. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I remember this was like a couple months ago. I had got a message from someone from a YouTube video I did like two years ago. And she was saying how she cried and praised God through the whole video. She said, "It's not cancer that I'm going through, but your testimony helped me." She said she literally cried and praised God through the whole video.
Again, the miracle didn't die 2 years ago.
Yep.
The
Yep.
miracle, even as you go forward, even as you move, that season in your life, that's unlocking somebody else's miracle, their faith, their understanding, that encouragement, that empowerment. That's why you have to release it. That's why you have to speak it. That's why you have to tell somebody, hey, look, this is where I was. This is how I got this. Like, I don't get offended when
Yep.
people ask me about my scar up here. I don't get offended when people stare at me, because that's
Yep.
an opportunity. That's a space that has been created for me to discuss where I was. And I don't look back at the old me like I just got like this. That's like a testimony for me. I can look at the old pictures of me and I don't be like, oh man, I was so pretty then. I
Yeah.
don't say that because
And
I'm fine now. So
and
it's
and that's true, because I remember when I used to dress differently, and I always, once I got a little bit more comfortable with my scar from the surgery, you know, I'd wear something that would show the scar, and people would ask, and I could always see people like hesitate, and then other people, they just all in the business. Girl, what happened? Oh my God.
what is that?
You know? So I'm just like, so then I would get to share it, and I remember I decided, like, no, this is something, like, it doesn't matter. And even now I'll still purposely wear something to show my scars. And the last fashion show that I did as a clothing designer, it was October of 2019, the first thing that I did after the surgery, which had been that June. And I wore this two-piece outfit on the red carpet and made sure that my scar was front and center, and was so, I still had the picture of myself walking down the runway, big cheesy grin, because, you know, like, I had made it through, you know. But
You alive.
some people, what was that?
I said you was alive. Like, listen.
Exactly. But some people, they cower back. They don't want to talk about it, because in the beginning there was no way I was going to talk about it. I wasn't showing that scar, nothing. And it's interesting because at work, I met this gentleman, and he's blind, and he's the one that I'm really hoping will be on the show, because he's a miracle. And I ended up talking to him, and I'm not going to tell his story because I want him to do it himself. But I asked him, like, can I ask how you lost your eyesight? And he was shocked that I asked him if I could ask him a question, because some people really don't want to talk about it. They just, they're not there yet. They're not comfortable. And some people really never get there. And that testimony, you know, dies with them, you
And
know.
I think some people are like that because they're angry.
Oh, yeah.
They're angry. They don't want to see the miracle. They want to remember what they used to have. Think about it. Somebody got cancer. They had to take both of their tatas out. Yeah, you wait a minute. Wait a minute. Or they're angry about the survival of the miracle because they don't look like what they used to look like, or wasn't like what they used to
Ooh,
look like. So they can't appreciate the miracle.
come on.
So anger makes you not want to talk about it. Like,
Yeah.
that's not everybody's case, but that's a lot of people's case. You're still mad. You're still angry because it didn't look like what you wanted it to look like. It didn't come out the way you wanted it to come out. I mean, think about how many people say, I went to God and I prayed and he didn't even show up. He did, but you didn't notice him. You didn't see it because it didn't reflect what you wanted it to reflect. You have your own interpretation. And so sometimes the anger
Oh,
sits there. You're mad Because a lot of people would have been mad that now they got this big. I have a scar right here in my forehead that's not going nowhere. Like it's a hole. They had to stick. But they had to save my life. You get what I'm saying? Like my brain was swelling. There's a scar here on this side. They had to take that thing out. They had no choice. So my face shifting. I'm okay with that. I'm alive. I
Right.
can breathe. I can talk. So when I see people like that and I hear people like that, it's also like it's the anger and not understanding
That's good.
why. You know what I'm saying? Like why me? They still have that why me
That's
sentence
right.
because I could have easily did that. I could have easily been like, okay, God, now I done been through this, and this. And I gotta go. And I did ask him one time. I wasn't angry, I was hurt. And I asked him, I said, now God, I've been telling people about this. Now wait a minute. And now I have to go through this. Now I have to go through the disfigurement. Now I have to go through hearing loss. Now I have to go through losing my balance, like all this stuff. I
Yeah.
was hurt. And I can understand how that hurt could turn into anger really quickly if you just dwell on the negative aspect of what you went through.
I've spent the past 5 years now speaking to um so many different women that have been diagnosed with cancer. And the interesting thing is, and there's all different types of cancers, but I remember talking to a woman that had breast cancer, and she said losing her breast was the worst thing. It was worse than having cancer. Is the worst thing that could have ever happened to her. And just some people like really look at things so differently, whereas and trying to say this in a way that's not judging anyone, because that's a traumatic thing to lose your breast. And also because it's your womanhood, it makes you feel like that's what makes you a woman, one of the things.
Mm-hmm.
um but there's quite a few things with that. um I would like to say, at least you still have your life. You're still alive. Yeah, you had to lose your breast, but you're still alive. When, like you said, we don't get to choose how we get the miracle. And that definitely can make someone angry, resentful, question God, question if there is a God. I've heard it all. I've heard so many things, you know, and yeah, I can definitely understand someone not even wanting to talk about it, because sometimes and everyone gets to a point in their own time. Like Miles Monroe said, that once you can talk about your testimony and not dwell on what happened, but talk about it, that's when the healing has really begun. That's when you're healed.
I tell people that all the time that want to talk about being violated or molested and you still crying, you're not healed. You still living it. You are not. Don't tell nobody else. Just tell one person at a time until you get to that place, because the tears are a constant reminder. And when it's like you're reliving it, when people go into it and they're having a conversation, and it's just like both of us can't be sitting here crying. Like I used to tell people that, like, you go to life coaches and you're opening up. You and the life coach sitting there crying. This ain't gonna work. This no. Wait. How we both, because you have to be able to be in that moment. Like I can talk about being violated. I
Mhm.
can talk about being raped. I can talk about being molested. I have family members that cannot do it just yet on the scale that I do it on. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like even if I go and ask them, I can still see the pain. So it's just like, even though we seeing like somebody like, oh, I got hit by a drunk driver and then, Lord, that's how I lost my legs. And they're still angry at the drunk driver. To me, it's like, but you're still alive. Like you're able
Right.
to, you may not be able to do what you were able to do, but you're still alive. But until you get past the anger of the trauma that
Yeah.
impacted your life dramatically, you know what I'm saying? Not nothing you planned for. You was minding your business. I was minding my business.
And that's the
This
thing.
thing was sitting here 10 plus years.
I remember when you and I had first spoke in January, and after you told your testimony, I shared mine with you, and the very first thing you said to me, your eyes were wide too. You were like, "Oh my God!" But you said you got through it without crying. And as I got to know you, I understood why you had said that,
Mm-hmm.
because there are certain parts of my testimony that I didn't share until just a few months ago. Like, it took me over 20 years to talk about when I was raped. It took me
Mm-hmm.
over 20 years to talk, because and then when I did talk about it, nothing but tears. Nothing but I and you would think that it had just happened, how hard I was crying. You know what I mean? And so
Mm-hmm.
it's just, but once it got out, I was able to speak about it again, and not, no shaky voice, no teary eye, none of
Your
that.
heart not pounding, and it's just
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
because
Because again, you don't know who and what
yeah,
it affects. Like your truth affects a lot of people. It
yeah,
does. Like I understood my truth was going to impact a whole bunch of people, but my truth also was going to free a whole bunch of people, right? So it's just like I remember, but again, like I tell people all the time, I was that one. Like I didn't really start crying about being violated and stuff until way later because I didn't even realize that it was still controlling me. That's another thing. The
yeah,
trauma was still controlling me even in my adulthood, and I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that I was actually really angry about what happened to me, and I
yeah,
lived my life captive unintentionally, And so it's just like trying to understand, like when people that miracle again, all of us want the miracle of waking up one morning and it's $1 million in our bank account. You know
woo,
what I'm saying? Just waking up one morning and somebody just knock on your door and hand you some keys and say, "Here, I left you some." Everybody wants that, but
yeah,
nobody wants the journey that when you go through these things that are
no,
life changing, that
no,
impact you. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, how do you again continue to create the space? That's why we have this. We're creating the space
yeah,
for more miracles so that way when somebody come on here, it's like, hey, I'm connecting with other miracles. I'm seeing other miracles. In spite of what your situation is, we're showing you a platform and saying, hey, there are so many miracles out there. You just have to be patient and open-minded
yeah.
because you got to seek the miracle. The question is, what are we seeking?
And the platform and the safe space is what's so important. Do you remember, um after the at the end, when I had the speakers come up for the after at the expo? Do you remember the beautiful woman that had her child with her, and she didn't know anything about it? One of my daughters went outside and brought her in, and she came at the end. It's God's
She had
divine.
on the green dress.
Yep, the green dress, and she had just been diagnosed with cancer. And
Mm-hmm.
she
And she
said it.
still had the port thing. Then she have the,
I think she had just gotten it because she had just had her
yeah,
first. Yeah.
treatment.
Yep, and it was so amazing. And it's a thing, as long as we need to be obedient. Like, once you're given the miracle, go to God and ask him, what will you have me do with this? And
And
then
listen,
listen, and then when you get that answer, be obedient, because then your obedience, you don't know who your obedience is attached to.
nope.
For her to come in there, she said it felt like God himself rolled the red carpet out for her, because she said she had been praying, God, what do I do? She needed faith. And boy, when she came in that day, she got a whole bucket
She
load of
wasn't even expecting that. She was crying. I remember her. She was crying like it
faith.
was. It was one of those moments. And again, because of your obedience, because of everyone's obedience that was there. Again, when you're in this realm of the miracle, your obedience is necessary, and you need to obey timely.
Mm,
Because
yeah,
your obedience, again, the scripture says that one man's disobedience, Adam, caused many to sin.
mm,
And one man's obedience, Yeshua, Jesus, calls others to righteousness,
yeah,
calls many to righteousness. So your obedience is powerful. And
yeah.
when you have the miracle and God say do this and God say do that, like you have to be obedient. Like the speaking engagement I had, when they had asked me and I was like, I'm gonna do it, but I was thinking I'm gonna do it way down the line.
Oh,
And God was like, you will do it and you will not manipulate these 2 dates you got. So I was like, let me just do the first date, and get it over with, not knowing that it was going to be a lady in there that had seen me like either a year or so ago, but she couldn't afford my coaching services. So when she heard that I could no longer charge nobody, did she not schedule her appointment? Yes, she did. Why? Because of my obedience.
Isn't that beautiful? But
Her need created a whole thing, and my obedience allowed God to do what he needed to do.
there you go. And it is such a beautiful
It
thing.
is.
So, I mean, ultimately, the question that we've been asking is, what do you do with the miracle? Like you share it.
Yeah.
You share
You
the
share it.
because other people need to hear it. If we're not out here putting our faces out there, and honestly, it takes a lot of vulnerability to come on here and share these things and to tell complete strangers the things that we've been through, the emotions, the sadness, the ups, the downs. Like it's real vulnerable, but also like we have to do that because how else are people going to relate to us? How else are people going to know, oh, okay, God did it for them, he'll do it for me? It may look different, but he did it for them, so he'll do it for me. We just never
Absolutely.
know. We just never know. Just like the people that I looked up on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok when I needed something, when I needed encouragement. I don't know these people, but it encouraged me. And
Because
so
their miracle didn't die.
exactly. And that literally is kind of like the miracle just jumps off onto the next person.
There you go. Like miracles, they're not dead. Just
No.
like when you think about it, the song they used to sing, "God's not dead, He's yet alive." We serve a living God. The word is alive and well. Thus, miracles cannot die. Like they're here, they're with us. They're waiting. They're like angels, and it's just like, okay, so wake up expecting a miracle. Like, so there were steps to this that we did. So we had to recognize His presence. So you have to recognize the presence of the miracle. Reflect on the meaning of miracle. Like, what does that really authentically mean? Then you have to share your miracle with others. Then
Mm-hmm.
you have to express gratitude. Like, stay humble, stay thankful. Don't ever try to give the credit to somebody else or something else. Always show gratitude to God.
Mm-hmm.
Incorporate it into your life. So always incorporate your miracle, baby. Everywhere I go, okay, that miracle with me. We is like this.
Okay.
Okay. Create a space for more miracles. And
Mm-hmm.
that's like we said, seek out miracles.
Yeah.
Start looking for them.
Yeah.
Just look, I mean, because we look up everything else, you might as well look up miracles, right? Be patient and open-minded. Like that's the one thing about it. You got to be patient. You can't rush your miracle. One day is like 1,000 years. 1,000 years like one day. You rushing it, but you're gonna blink and be like, I can't believe I was just back there
Yeah.
3 months ago, a year ago, 6 months ago. Because the way time's speeding up,
Yeah.
don't rush it. Let patience have her perfect work
Mm.
in its entirety, so you'll want for nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's good. I love it.
I love it too. I'm excited to this time. Now this was really good. Like considering the things we went through, because I was on another meeting that ended literally at 7 o'clock. So we had to get on here. It was a lot that happened, but again, our obedience was necessary. We got
Yeah.
Ashley on here, and she a miracle all by herself. But I'm gonna let her testify when she ready, child.
Oh, she need to
I'm gonna
up.
let her testify when she ready, child. Because who knows? Ashley is when Ashley tell me stuff, I just be like, really, Ashley? And she's straight up like the doctors tell Ashley stuff. Ashley's just like, well, this is what they said, sis, but I didn't want you worried. And
Oh,
then when she go back, they don't even know what to say. They
oh,
don't even have a clue.
she need to come on. She needs to
I
come on.
done told her that, but I don't think she ready yet. We ain't gonna rush her. We just saying, Ashley, when you get a chance, it'll be
You
nice.
know what? I'm telling you because I have a list of people. I have a list of people that I want to reach out to and bring on because, like I said, the miracles they just come. I see them. I don't even have to look for them anymore. The thing is, it goes back to what we said. You have to recognize the miracle.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's like you just be like, oh, okay, this person went through what and they survived. Oh, okay, cool. No, like I'm the type of person, I'm being your business. I'm asking questions
Like what happened? How we got? What did? Yeah.
because I want to know. You
Mm-hmm.
know, that's literally I have become an investigative reporter when it comes to miracles. You know,
I
so I
love that. That's how we all should be. We should
yes,
all be investigative reporters when it comes to miracles.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Like even when I'm at work, I'm talking to people. There's patients that come in. I see about I say on a day like today that we had 50 patients today,
Wow.
and so I'm always talking to people. And one thing that I have noticed is that there are a lot of people struggling. There are a lot of people that are dealing with all kinds of dis-ease. I don't like the word disease, but dis-ease. And people are really seeking things outside of like regular doctors, or seeking holistic ways to heal themselves. And I can only say so much at work because I'm like, just seek God. Go to God.
Mhm.
How does he want you to heal? So yeah, we need to keep doing what we're doing, and the miracles
I'm
will.
excited.
Oh,
I'm excited.
absolutely. Well, I think this was good. And do you have anything else any last minute thoughts?
You know what, y'all? That's our assignment for this week. Seeking out miracles. Just seek them out. Just seek it. Wake up looking for a miracle. Go to sleep looking for a miracle, expecting a miracle.
And expect miracles.
Yeah, expect it. Like don't, because we seek a whole lot of other stuff. Wake up seeking, expecting. Go to sleep seeking and expecting. Like consume yourself with it so much, especially if you're in a position when you need a miracle.
Mm,
Because
yes.
if that's what you need, then that's what you need to seek out.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I will say this real quick. So we had a guest at church on Sunday, and at the beginning of service, someone came up and gave a testimony of how her and her husband wanted a new house. And at first, it didn't look like they were going to get it. And then, whoo, at the 11th hour, the Lord came through and they got the house. Well, the guest that we had, he came up and he was saying that when you get blessed like that, you're supposed to share it because then it blesses other people. And he's like, raise your hand if you believe in God for a new home. And so many people had raised their hands. Her testimony just increase their faith.
Mm-hmm.
So and a miracle could be anything. We're not even talking about just medical miracles. We're
Mm-hmm.
talking about miracles of all kind. I've heard
All miracles.
as a one person I heard they had got a $50,000 student loan forgiven. Someone else that got a car. Like there are miracles. That's what I'm saying. It's not just we made because of the foundation of our miracles in our show. We're not just talking about just regular miracles, guys. We're talking about miracles of all kinds.
Yep.
I'm in a miracle. The house I'm sitting in is a miracle. You know,
Me too. Let church say amen.
okay, both of us in
Well,
our.
you moved in. I moved in June 15th. You moved in June 19th.
Yep. So look at God.
Yeah, look at God.
So you guys, yeah. So that is your assignment for this week. Seek out miracles and expect a miracle. I am your host Samantha, and
And
this
I'm your host, Letitia.
and this has been When Miracles Speak. Have a great week. See you next Tuesday.